Hey guys, welcome back. I hope you had a really great day trading today. So today was Tuesday, October 1st. We are in the first week of October and we did start with a gap down in SPY. So yesterday we actually closed just underneath the previous all-time highs that we made the previous Thursday, and we closed right at that resistance. Today we opened with a gap down, and within the first hour we had dropped all the way down to the bottom of the 30-day average volatility. So really big drop to start the day. And then from there we did pop back up. We saw a little bit of resistance where we saw previous support, and then we dropped back down again. We held to that 30-day average volatility level around 567, and then from there we did pull all the way back up. We tapped the bottom of the implied move, and the 35 EMA was also there, and it kicked us out. So really big down day today. SPX, we saw the same thing over here with that opening gap down, and then we dropped all the way down to the bottom of the 30-day average volatility, and we did find a little bit of support there today. So that was at 56.90. Once we tapped that level, we did come back up. We saw a little bit of resistance where we did have previous support. We dropped all the way back down, and we did have the 30-minute 200 moving average right there. It's a little bit closer in SPX than in SPY, and that gave us enough of a boost to come back up. We tapped the bottom of the implied move. 35 EMA was right there, and it kicked us out. So this morning at 9:42 a.m., so that's going to be at this first candle, I did make a post saying that I was going to be selling 5,700, 5690 bull put spreads, so that is around here, and then my backup position was going to be 5695, 5685 bull put spreads, so those were right here. And while we were down here, I did sell a decent amount of premium, and we did swing back up to close above that level. So if you did play those strikes today, we did awesome. And SPY did close down 0.90%. SPX closed down 0.93%. VIX closed up 15.25%. And I believe today at the high, it was about 20% up. And a close at 15% is still quite elevated. And we did not close within the implied move today. And we even closed underneath the implied move for tomorrow. So really big down day today. And before we move on to QQQ, I did want to note that we did see that overbought signal right here, which is where we bounced. We also had that 30-minute 200 moving average. So hopefully you saw those two signals. And also note right here that we are seeing a rejection right here. And that also lines up with the 35 EMA. All right, so then moving over to QQQ, we did open over here today, not with a gap down. We actually opened pretty flat, but we did see that initial drop. It was a huge drop. The 30-day average volatility was already down 1.86%, and we dropped just a little bit underneath that. We did have the 30-minute 200 moving average down there to catch us. We also had the top of this bull gap and previous support. Actually, this was previous resistance, and we're looking to see if this turns into a support. And initially it is looking like it could be, but that level was a resistance right here, and I believe, yeah, so back to the end of August, and we saw that as a resistance a bunch of times before we broke above it with the FOMC gap, and now we're right at that level here. So this is a pivot resistance, possibly turned support right here, and that is at 477.5, and that 30-minute 200 moving average was right here. It did catch us, it swung us back up, but we did not quite get back into the implied move here, and we did not get above the 35 EMA. So now that we're printing red candles, this 35 EMA needs to be assumed that it is going to be resistance. And we're actually neutral here. We're not quite bearish yet, because the bearish thing would be this 35 EMA sliding underneath the 30-minute 200 moving average. And we're just not there yet. So we're not bullish, we're not bearish, we are in between and pending direction right now. So QQQ, big down day, down 1.39%. VXN closed up 7.33%. And here we barely even stayed within the implied move. We definitely didn't close within it. By that first candle, we were already outside of it, and we spent the entire day completely outside of the implied move. And it's really cool to see the 30-minute 200 moving average catch us today. Past couple days, I was talking about the momentum of this and how if we did find ourselves at this level, to expect a bounce, and we saw exactly that. So then taking it over to IWM, we also opened over here with a gap down. We started the day underneath the 35 EMA, spent the entire day underneath it. That first candle dropped us underneath the bottom of the implied move, and that second candle broke us underneath the 30-minute 200 moving average. We dropped down to the bottom of the 30-day average volatility right here, and we also had the 1 hour 200 moving average right there. So those two levels did catch us. We did swing back up. We got back into the implied move right here, but that 35 EMA pushed us back out, and we actually closed underneath the 30-minute 200 moving average. So a little bit more bearish over here, because we did actually close underneath the 30-minute 200 moving average. But to be truly bearish here, we need to see this 35 EMA slide underneath the 30-minute 200 moving average. And we haven't seen that yet. So we are neutral here. We are neutral, leaning bullish, as long as this 35 EMA is above the 30-minute 200 moving average. So IWM down 1.36%. VX closed up 4.83%. And we did not close within the implied move. We did close within the next day's implied move. And today, if you did sell 218, 217 bull put spreads, they would have closed right about break even. So maybe a small loss if you played it a little bit safer and went to the outer edge today. And even sold 217, 216, those would have closed up 100% today. And then DIA. DIA took the smallest loss today. We did open with a gap down, and then we broke underneath that 35 EMA right away. Dropped down to where we saw support the previous day, and that is about where we saw support. So 419, that's actually around 420 right here. Brought us back up. We saw resistance at the 35 EMA, got pushed back out, and then that support at 420 caught us again and swung us back up. We closed the morning gap, but as soon as we did, we got pushed back out, and we did close underneath the 35 EMA. Very choppy day over here, but we didn't have as big of a loss as we saw in all of the other indices. So here we are much more bullish as well. We do have Stupid Willies supporting the bulls here, and we are still pretty high above the 30-minute 200 moving average. So even though we saw a lot of red over here, this is showing a lot more strength. Blue chip stocks are outperforming the rest right now. So that is a recap of today. We did see a lot of red today. The conflict in the Middle East did lead to increased oil prices, plus the market got a chance to reevaluate and recalibrate expectations around rate cuts and also around economic growth. So interesting day in that regard, but we also had some technical support levels that did catch us. So today I am going to split up the video into two. So I'm going to wrap up this video right here, and then I'll be back in a few hours with fresh new trading ranges for tomorrow. All right, see you in a few hours.